right, guys, back at you here with Misty and Mr. So, generally, good news here. We were up in MSTR 7.91, or sorry, what? Boy, I was looking at my beat number when I had 14.36%. So we did better. Remember last time when it was up 15, we were capped and we only did 5%. So we're we're capped in the sense that we ran by it, but we still got 6.45, almost half of it. So that's pretty darn good. So that's why the beat number is a minus 7.91, right? I'll make that one red because the reality is that MSTR kicked our booty. Okay, so what transpired and is it all bad? No, because if you look, Misty went up pretty well, right? Um, and let me explain that in more detail. So no shares were bought. That would have actually helped. So we're still at 14,525 in terms of share. Not much real cash movement. So let's jump into the weeklies. Um, and that looks like one strike price, right? I remember when they put this on, it was pretty far out. Let's look at it exactly. And they got decent money, right? And I did not write it right. This was actually, I made it yellow for a reason to distinguish it between the 719. So we had already closed out all the 719 stuff, and they had written this 726 on the 17th, right? So 2 days early, and they went 8.49% out of the money. Well, that didn't last long, right? Because it that day it closed at 1590 and then we went down to 1555 and we were looking okay. And if you listen, go listen to my YBit video because I went on a rant there, and I don't want to repeat the whole rant. I'm just going to give you like a 1.5 minute summary, whereas I went long there. The issue coming up, and a couple of things here. First off, I haven't done Coney and Coin yet, but I suspect it didn't move 14%, right? Mr. is carrying that 10 for 1 split and all this FOMO. So, what transpired on Friday? The rumors started. There's a massive, biggest conference of the year for Bitcoin. Although Michael Saylor sponsored the one where corporations came in and they talked to them, and Michael Dell was impressed about why don't you put your treasuries in a non losing asset? You're putting it in treasuries and US dollars, and they may give you a nominal rate or 3.5, 4%, but the reality is inflation is still 8. So you're losing real capital. And so they talk about hard assets. So the strong rumor out there is two things. First of all, Trump is trending because we just had the Republican National Conference and they haven't yet had the Democrat. It looks like they're going to push Biden out, get a new candidate. So they'll get their FOMO in time. Again, I don't make political statements for either side. I don't get into any of that. I want whatever your beliefs are, you keep your beliefs. My opinion doesn't matter. But I'll tell you socioeconomic impact. So the strong rumor is Trump's going to come out and talk about strategic treasury reserves and backing those with hard assets. And one of the rumors is that Bitcoin, obviously, I think he's playing to that audience. He wants to ensure he's elected, get all the votes that he can, but I do believe that he's reasonably sincere. Is it probably a political move? Probably. But is he somewhat sincere? I believe he is. So, gold, commodities, real things, right, to back that paper so that other people don't want to move away from the US dollar. Today, we're the buyers of treasuries. Very few countries, if any, are buying treasuries anymore. And enough said, go to the other one where I go into more detail. So having said that, you saw 67 on Bitcoin, and I suspect it'll move some more Sunday night. This conference, Trump and some other key speakers don't really come in until Friday and Saturday. So I don't know exactly when Trump's speaking. But think of that strategic reserve just like the SPR, Strategic Petroleum Reserve. We put millions of barrels of oil in that when we worry about war, deployment of troops, a national emergency, a freeze, a too hot heat stroke. So whenever we need oil, we have a strategic reserve. Well, it's the same kind of thing with paper money. You want to have some other assets deemed strategic reserve. So there's some FOMO. There's also some talk. Again, Trump has to win the election before he can worry about who he's going to appoint as Treasury Secretary, yada yada yada. But there's a rumor that Jamie Dimon is being strongly considered by his camp, should he get elected, to put in that position. Well, Jamie Dimon hasn't been a big proponent of Bitcoin. Another strong rumor is that Jamie Dimon has come around and seen the light of Bitcoin. So, all FOMO, all rumors, but it wouldn't put it past me that Trump at least talks about a strategic reserve for treasuries and mentions Bitcoin. It helps him get votes. It shores up the strength of the dollar in the eyes of the world. So very possibly could happen. Why am I telling you that? I'm telling you that because we could be 2,000 in MSTR easily. Is it something about buy the rumor, sell the news on the event? Sure could be. So let's get in to what's happened here. No trades, but let's look at what we own. So, in our 1550, thank goodness they own that. Look at where it is now. We had a $2 million gain in it. So when this thing flew up, we now have a $42 million gain. It's a paper gain, but we could sell it and realize that, right? We had a 7 million loss because when you're buying it, you have to pay a lot more. And if they put a new trade on this, they'd have to spend a lot more, like 322 versus 98, right? But the reality is, when it moves up, that's that long stock that we move right up with MSTR. It's only on our weeklies when we get run by. So we fully ran by them, but half of the move up we didn't, right? So when you look at that, it looks like this. Let's go over to holdings. I mean, you can see it in weekly, but you're going to see it in the holdings much easier with the detail. So here we are, right? The first part, we were 1555, so it ran all the way to 1778. 1775, where's the number? 1778.50. But all the way up to 1675, we were just even. And then even now, this is 153. So look, we've got to spend 39 million to buy back the 11 million we were handed. So that's ugly. But we did even better on the long side because only a portion of the move up. And then further doing the math for you guys. So here's what it looks like. I got another little map for you. So this is the difference, right? From under 3 million to almost 43 million. So nice move up, right? We got a $38 million loss, but we got a, $40 million gain. So again, all it does is when you get capped is it takes part of your gain away over there. But I'll take it right now. And then I wanted to point out one thing to you guys. I think that it'll give us value. Okay. So that is that this 153 million that looks like this big. Oh, and what's fair value? So we went up to 29.71. Nice move up, right? I'm sure some of you are happy, especially you guys that added shares down at 22, 23, 24. I don't remember the exact low, but 29.65, and we're 6 cents above that. But let's take a look on payouts and where I'll try and explain this. So we don't look particularly good. We look horrible with that last where we got capped last time when it ran 15% and we only went up 3. But look at this now. So the synthetic gain, repeating what I saw, is up to 48 million on paper. Or sorry, this should be 43 million. Can't even write. Okay, 42.8, 42.9. This is 38. But I went through and I calculated how much of that, if we just stayed right at 1778 and went to the end of the week, this next week, 12 million would come out, because that's all time premium. So then we would have a 26 million. Now this would come down a little bit with the time on the call, but nowhere near that 3 or 4 or 5 million. So you have a 40 million gain and a 26 million loss. And if this thing keeps on going, we'll move right with it, but we're capped. So if this thing blows up to 2000, we're not going to get much of that gain, because again, we're capped. So maybe the best thing that could happen is it moves up a lot and then comes back. But remember, if people buy into the fund, they have an opportunity to write further calls from where we are. So that would be nice for the fund to have that opportunity. So that's what I got for you. I mean, I feel good that we're going to get $1.50 or $2 out of Misty. To get back to our $3, we got to stay uncapped. We can't have Bitcoin running 15%, or what was the percent? 11% in a day, 14%. Yeah, a 14 and a 15. So we got a third. We got 3/8 this time. 7/16, something like that. So that's the state of affairs with Misty. I love seeing it come up. It's above my average price, so it makes me happy knowing that I'm going to get $1.50, $2. I mean, we haven't gone below $2, so it may not be below 2 this time. All right, guys, because remember, we got 2 more weeks. So whatever it does this week, maybe at the end of the week, we sell some calls and it's up at 1900, 2000, and we sell some 21s and Bitcoin takes a rest and goes back to 19, right? MSTR in this case, but it does track Bitcoin, but it has that premium right now with the 10-for-1 split. All right, guys, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. So have a great weekend ahead, and go BTC, go MSTR, and hopefully we get lucky with the fund managers here. All right, see ya. Bye for now.